There was a time in my life where I decided my brother Michael was just an absolute jackass. Did a lot of internalizing, did a lot of thinking. And I'm happy to report I have joined the Fueltech team. Oh, God damn. Truth be told, I can't do the Blouis Vuitton character for this whole video because I'll go insane. I can't get inside the mind of a madman like Michael Button for 5 to 10, maybe 20. I don't know how long the video is going to be, but I can't get inside that mental state for that long without losing my gourd. But today, I am happy to do an unboxing of a Fueltech for what? My 1991 Honda CRX. That's what is going on. The garage is getting a little packed, so I'm gonna bring this party inside. But the general gist here was, this thing has been a little bit of a pain in my sphincter, right? So I decided to simplify life, go back to my roots. I'm a Honda kid at heart. That's what I started with, and I still enjoy the hell out of them. And I picked the CRX up. I think people thought it was a joke. It's not a joke. I freaking love these cars. I love B-Series engines, and I want to enjoy this car the rest of this summer as much as I can. And I don't want to do it on all the stock stuff. And the number one thing you got to do when you start modifying is make sure you can tune. And the Honda world, you got a couple options, right? Number one, chip your P28 or your P72, your P99er, 11D, whatever. Or the other more common option is to go with Honda, where you take the same P28 or P72 or whatever code ECU and you have a Honda installed on it on the board, and then you tune that on the stock ECU. That's the other common thing. But I didn't want to do that, and I didn't want to do a chipped ECU because the cost versus doing a Fueltech was, the difference was, it'd be stupid to do that. And I don't get a cool dash with it, with all the lights. It's just like my number one thing is being able to watch, like having a cool digital dash in my 91 CRX. Sick! Oh man, I haven't smiled over a car in forever, and this is gonna do it. But less talky, more unboxy. But I'm getting sweaty, so I'm moseying on inside before I crack this box open. And they say it's all sorts of stuff. I'm so excited. Whoo! That AC is on point. I gotta clean this house though. Don't judge me. I haven't had a chance to clean, and my girlfriend's at drill. She's in the military. She's gonna be gone for a couple days. So usually it's a lot tidier than this. But I'm a slob. So there's that. All right, we're comfy. We're settled in on the old couch. We're in the old living room. I don't know why I keep saying the old, but that's where we're at. I got my coffee table my unboxing zone set up. And I'm gonna dive into this stuff and I'm gonna show you what we got. So one of the first things that I have to go over, let me get the hard parts out the way, is the swagger that they sent as a new customer of Fueltech. I thought it was pretty cool. I have a banner for my shop, which is also called my garage. A little lanyard. It's cool, remove before flight, probably won't. And we have a t-shirt, which it's a 2XL, but I'm trying to lose weight, so don't judge me. And then let's dive into a note that my friend and brother, Michael Button, wrote me. Logan, I love you. I wanted to hand package this package. Inside package will find FT450. Hope do install good job. I know you much like that's Honda tons. LMTO. You are BFF. Even though I'm older, I fell like a young brother to you, Michael. Hashtag GTCTTWW. A note by Michael Button. But I'll be honest, like I feel like he was like, I'm gonna pretend to write something stupid, but I think that's 100% him. I mean, he spelled feel F-E-L, among other things. It looks like he couldn't spell Fueltech. You know, I'll show you. He got halfway through it and was like, nope. Let's just do this instead. God. So, shout out, Michael. You're the brother I never wanted. That's my Fueltech. Get out, huh? It's mine. Savages, dude. Straight savages. Taking a look at the harness that they send. I'm a pretty big stickler for quality harnesses, and I'm bummed because my harness melted in the RX-7. I got to remake it. But the one thing off the bat I noticed, and this is like, I guess, in Michael's words, one of their cheaper harnesses, and it comes with labeled clear heat shrunk ends. This is coil, and then you have water temp labeled. You have intake air temp. You have all the individual injectors. I mean, everything is labeled with really, really, really nice loom. And it's not split loom, it's all one piece. It's awesome. And a firewall grommet too. So when I drill all those holes in the old CRX, God, why do I keep saying the CRX? Run it in there, individual relays. And the relays are marked appropriately. So you have, there we go. Coils, injectors, all that stuff. And the main connector for the back of the ECU, which is right yonder. And that's a badass harness, man. I'm actually really, really, really excited for this harness. It's almost a shame, I don't want to say to waste it, but there's like a lot of people that have a lot nicer cars that these things go on. So, when you splurge, you splurge. I wanted to treat that CRX right, and I'm happy I did. This is badass. I'm really stoked on that alone. This is a wideband controller O2 sensor set up for the Fueltech. You can use your own gauge as well, like a AEM Uego with an output to the Fueltech. You don't have to use theirs. I wanted to use theirs just because I like to buy all the same stuff from the same company in terms of ECU components. So I'm gonna run their wideband setup instead of a different external gauge, and I'll just have all that stuff in the dash itself. So that's pretty cool. I'm stoked on that. Pop this open. And the box is nice. Pop it open. It's like I bought a Louis Vuitton, a Gucci baton. I bought a real expensive something. Like I've got a purse or something. And it's all really nice color packaging. Like they spend a lot of time on their instructions. They spend a ton of time on their fit and finish. Like that's a damn novel. Like the fact that I can crack this open and roll through it, that's awesome, man. That's something to be said about just the packaging that this stuff comes in. And then obviously Fueltech sticker, so when I'm on the starting line trying to block people from getting there, I can slap this on my butt and people will know I'm official. Look at this. Oh, it's so much better than a giant stupid gauge staring me in the face. Just a little plug-a-roo, you're done. And a sub harness, you're done. Easy peasy. That's badass. And again, welcome. All right, so wideband O2, that's in the books. Instead of using a AEM or whatever, I can just use this piece. And another quick thing I purchased was this. Blanks you can use to mount the actual dash itself. So I'm gonna trim this, Dremel this, cut this out, and I'm gonna use this as a base plate to mount the ECU itself. So this makes life a ton easier when it comes to getting that stuff mounted properly so it just stays in one place. And now, I gotta say, I'm not just making this video to stroke Fueltech off. I really was at a crossroads on what to do for engine management on the Honda. So the last thing I have to go over is the piece de resistance, which I think is French. Is it French? All right, the biggest, the best, the grand gesture, whatever you want to call it, is obviously the ECU. But I want to jump back to my reasoning here. So you take a stock P whatever ECU, you send it out, you get your board chipped, your blibbity blue blah blue. You still have stock gauges. You don't have any wideband O2 functionality. You don't have built-in internal map sensor. You don't have inputs and outputs to the degree that the Fueltech stuff does, and other ECU options. But you don't have any of those options, right? Well, you're still, let's just say you have a homie hookup and you have all that done for $600 or $700. Cool. The FT450 in an unterminated harness is $1,100. So to recap, For $1,100, you have a badass all-in-one ECU dash, internal map sensor, inputs, outputs, everything you want to do for the street car stuff. You have that at your fingertips, or you spend $600 or $700 and you got gauges from 1991 staring you in the face, just saying you're poor and your RX-7's blown up. You suck. It's just something I just don't want to deal with like anymore, you know? So you pull this thing in, the first thing you're gonna notice is the packaging. I called Fueltech after I got this in the mail and I said, this packaging is absolutely awesome. The high gloss to flat, the matte finish, it just feels nice. It just feels like a good time. So Fueltech everywhere, we know. You guys are everywhere. Let me see if I can, okay, pop this thing open. Welcome to Fueltech. I gotta calm myself. First thing you see is the user or owner's manual rather. This is like a hardcover book you have to order at Barnes & Noble, and then the lady behind the counter is all pissed off because she's got to go in and manually place the order because it's that rare and badass. I'm going to just say that there's a lot of places that can take notes in terms of proper information with their components, and this thing, it's absolutely insane what they go over in here. It's 130 pages long. I'm really gonna need to learn how to read because, but it's like a Haynes manual for your Fueltech, which is badass that they equip you with that. And the next thing, like I do marketing for a company, and I'm gonna say that whoever's doing Fueltech's marketing gets an A++ because this is genius. The next thing, you see, I'll show this second. The first thing is the Fueltech sticker pack, which is badass. I mean, the little guys, the big dudes, I'm sure this is for, I guess, a keyboard or a helmet or something. I'm sure that they're gonna tell me what it's for, but it's curved for my pleasure. And it's just a cool sticker pack. But I'm more excited about this guy. Look at this. This is a decal for your laptop. You put this on your keyboard and it has all of the quick keys if you're tuning from the FT Manager software. And it's a sticker you can peel and just put right next to your keyboard. So if you're tuning up on a Fueltech, you can just reference this really quick. And they even bold some of the letters so you know exactly what you're working with. And that I've never tuned, but I've worked with Hal for a long time and I know he is a big fan of keyboard shortcuts. So that is a badass heads up idea by Fueltech. Cool beans, love it. Next is a Fueltech catalog. So this is, again, the fit and finish of all of their media is absolutely killing me. I'm not good at my job when I look at this stuff. I mean, all the layouts of the different options. I mean, you got everything you need all in one place. And a switch panel that's badass that I really like, but it's a CRX. So as much as I like it, it's still a CRX. So that goes to the side. And now comes one of obviously the most impressive part of this whole package. And this is part of the reason that I went with Fueltech, because I didn't want to buy 4 dozen gauges. I didn't want to buy oil pressure and volts and water temp, all that stuff. I didn't want to buy all that stuff. I just wanted to have one place for all my information to live. And this is the only ECU company that is in my price range that offers all of that in one package. This is the ECU, right? It's also the dash, right? Like, are you kidding? Look at that guy. It weighs nothing. I'm so excited for this thing. I had to take it out of its protective plastic covering, but I'm not removing that just yet. But man, it's a really, really unique take on engine management. You have your internal map sensor, your USB comm link, and your main. This is the only plug this has because it's a very, very simple and basic, straightforward ECU. So the 450 is the entry-level setup, and it's a ton of 4-cylinder guys rocket. One of the if not the fastest all-wheel drive Civic in the world, I believe, is on Fueltech. And I mean, it's no secret why in terms of what the options are for what you pay. Just to touch on some talking points on this specific system. This is the 450, so this is going to be specific for the CRX setup that I have, and I can go into the 550 and the 600 in just a moment, but this is universal for all these dashes. They're waterproof. They have your standard automotive connector. This is a really common connector you see. Internal map sensor, USB, and then it has 4 mounting points so you can mount this ECU. Really, really simple. The dash itself, when it powers up, virtual LEDs, it's a color touchscreen. It's non-reflective, so it's not gonna blind you when you catch a sunscreen behind you. The 450 itself has the ability, I think, for up to 10 injectors, sequential injection. It has up to 5 coil-on plugs that you can power. It has, obviously, that customizable screen. You have idle speed control. You can do it by timing or by PWM valve. I think 4 customizable dashboard screens when you want to start rolling through different custom dash layouts. And 256 channel internal logger, I think is the last thing I read. Integrated boost control, you have traction control you can use, O2 closed loop correction. I mean, this thing does it all. And a lot of that sounds like a crazy sales pitch, but the purpose of an unboxing like this is to go through what a system like this can do and its value to the marketplace and where you can find it working in your program. Mine is in a little blue CRX. I can go through all of the different options in here, but you would be able to tell that I'm just reading off of a list. So what I recommend you do is a couple things. Number one is this catalog you can download online, so you can look at all the different options from a 450, from a 350 all the way to a 600, and then you can see exactly what options are inside of each individual unit. The 450 itself is what we're working with, and that's what I'm going to stick with for this project. But like I said, you can roll on there and you can check out all the different options, everything from inputs and outputs, the data logger that's built in, the hardware that's included, things like that. Now, the other thing you should do is download FT Manager. You can download FT Manager from their website. You can roll through the back end. You can use test maps and play around with the software, get acclimated, get comfortable, see how you feel about it. This is going to be one of my first ventures into, I wouldn't say self-tuning, but trying to get a car up and running with limited help. And Michael Bunton assured me that it would be very simple and straightforward. It's an NA Honda. How hard could it be, Logan? So if it doesn't work, it's all Michael's fault. The good news is I have an FT450 to install in my CRX. I have some track day prep to get done. And if you haven't caught wind yet, I'm not turning the car into a drag car. I'm doing proper bolt-ons, some decent suspension, some good tires, and I'm gonna go hit the curves with this thing, and that's it. The car's not gonna be anything close to what the RX-7 is because I wanna be able to enjoy the car. Not that I don't enjoy the RX-7 if it's listening. You know, but the goal is to have the most fun I can with the least investment possible. So the biggest thing I'm splurging on this entire build, and I don't even wanna call it a build, is this FT450. And when the options come down to stock ECU for $600-700 or a Fueltech with everything that this thing can do for $1,100, it's really a no-brainer to me. I mean, I don't know if you guys are like, you should have done this, you should have done that, you're a jackass. I totally get it. And I appreciate those comments. Keep them coming. But make sure you tag Rye in those comments, not me, because we all know it's about Rye. Any hoodle, my girl's out of town. I got a bag of cheddar and sour cream chips. I got a FT450 to stare at and get excited and wire in this weekend, and everything else is gravy train. The RX-7, like I said, will be back, but for now, I'm focused on Captain Blue Balls in the garage. Thank you guys for the support. We appreciate it a ton. I love every one of you, even the people that don't love me. Kisses XOXO. And a special shout out to my buddy Mikey at Toge Factory, formerly Pro Function, formerly Factory 5. I don't even know where you were at before that, but he's a very good friend of mine, and he has helped guide me on the bolt-ons I've purchased for the CRX. And I'm super excited to get on track with him. Not like as a relationship, but like as homies that are on track together, like on a racetrack, a track where there's cars involved. It's purely a car thing.